Welcome to my place. My name is Goody, co-founder, along with my son Zach, of that little cookie in the bag, that snack you didn't know you were waiting for, Goody's granola. So fresh, you're going to think it just came out of the oven. Folks, today I'm going to introduce a young lady that I met. This young lady, her name is Renaldo Perez, a.k.a. Rain. She's a singer. She's an entrepreneur. She's lived a crazy life, and she's great now. And I want you to say hello to Rain, aka Rain.
Hey, everybody, and welcome. And I'm so glad that you're here. I pray that this story inspires you.
Rain, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for being here, by the way.
You're welcome.
Now, you live up in the Bronx now?
No, I'm located in Queens. I'm originally from Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. Whereabouts?
Bushwick area for almost 38 years.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. Did you have parents still there? You have family there?
My mom relocated to Virginia Beach.
Well,
and my dad, my mom is in Virginia Beach.
Oh, okay.
And my dad is in Brooklyn, East New York.
Oh, okay. You're a singer, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any singing background from your folks? Musical background? Or it's just something you picked up and loved?
As I'm older now, when I was young, I didn't know where I got it from. But I realized my mother loves to write music. And my father, he loves music too. He just doesn't sing. He sings in the shower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fantastic. Now, you living in Bushwick, you went to school there. Did you graduate high school and college? You go to college?
I went to college, didn't finish.
Me either.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's cool.
I graduated every other class that I attended. My mother was very strict, so she made sure that we went to school and got good grades. She was a good mom. She still is a good mom, so I'm grateful for her. Wow.
Ah, the magic word, mom. There you go. It rings a bell.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, when did you actually start singing?
I started singing at the age of 10. I love music. I'm old school, so we always had Walkmans. And my mom used to buy me a Walkman because I would drop it and break it, and then she'd buy me another one. But I was always singing, dancing. I would play my little Nintendo with my Walkman on. And so I started doing shows when I was like 10 years old.
Did you study?
Never studied.
Really?
Never studied music.
Ever studied dance, or you just picked it up?
I just picked it up.
Freelance.
Yeah. My mom dances all night, and she's 75 right now. She still dances.
Okay. My mom, she was a very lucky woman. She never worked for anybody. She was a beautician. I grew up in Canarsie, Bayview Houses. She did everybody's hair, and she was a ballroom dancer and taught dance up until she was 80 years old.
No way.
Amazing woman. She was just amazing. But what was great, she did everything on her own. She never had to work for anybody.
That's a beautiful story.
Yes, it is. Enough about her, though.
All right,
Let's talk about you. You were married.
Yes.
How long were you married for?
If I can remember, the first time, I was married twice. The first time was about 11 years. And I don't really know. I try to suppress a lot of things because, I don't know, I live my best life now. So it was a good time in my life. It was an experience. I was raising my ex-husband's daughter at the time. I did it for about 10 years. And unfortunately, while I was in that relationship, he got sick. He got really sick about 2 years after we got married. And I didn't know that he was sick. And
so what went wrong?
He had AIDS. Literally. I didn't know.
And
yeah.
He had AIDS?
He had AIDS.
And did he transfer it to you?
Yeah. I wound up finding about a week later that I had to be tested because of the scenario. So what happened was he was running a fever and he had something in his head like boils or something. And I called his mom. I never forget. And she was always good with me. And she says, I need you to take him to the hospital right away. So I did. And while we were there, I didn't know what was happening. I had no idea. And I was new to hospitals and stuff because I never had kids, never been hospitalized. So this was all a new scenario. And I was working for the police department at the time. I worked for school safety for a very long time. Yeah, I started when I was 22. And All I know is that I was praying. I'm always praying. I believe in God. I was praying, and he was there for about a week, and I was at work, stressing, but still at work, making sure everything was good. I had certain family members that stepped in. So I just got to give shout out to Tanya, because Tanya really was there. She held me down. She helped me with Aja at the time, which was his daughter, which is still his daughter. Yeah. She helped me to make sure that she was into school, got picked up and things like that, because I still had to work and he wasn't no longer available. He was hospitalized. But a week later, they told me, he called me and he told me what happened. And I was at the hospital bed with him, and he said, you need to get tested. And I was like, what? It didn't even hit me until he said that. And I was like, me? Like, so anyway, I got tested by a peer counselor. I never forget, in Brooklyn Hospital. His name was Jimmy. I never forget. I love people, and I'm always like, I have this strong heart. I don't know what it is that God gave me. And he tested me, and like 20 minutes later, he said, you're HIV positive. And I was like,
no kidding.
Wow. Like, it just changed my life upside down. My mother-in-law at the time was there on the outside, and I came out, and I was like, well, this is my new life.
Well, how did your husband get AIDS?
I never got that answer. I never got it. And
do you have any idea?
The irony is that
was drugs involved, or
it could be his past history. I really don't know everything, but I know that her mom, had passed when she was 3 years old, and at that time they called it cancer. That's what they called it. They called it cancer. So I was presuming later on in life that that's where it came from. And I was raising, his daughter at the time with the mom already passed, but not knowing what was happening. And then when it happened to me, and I was like diagnosed, I started to put the pieces together.
Did he didn't know he had HIV?
That's what he claims, that he didn't know.
Wow.
So I never got the choice to make I never got an opportunity to choose that I want that life or not. So I made sure going forward that I always give people, because we wound up divorcing later for other reasons. But it wasn't because of that. It was some things that happened later. But at the time, he literally thought he was going to pass away. That's what he felt, because, when AIDS came in at the time, years ago, it was people were dropping like flies.
Right. Well, I remember when it first came out. Absolutely.
So he's still alive today. He's still well. He's taking medication. I'm taking medication. So we're both sustaining.
What do you take? What kind of medication?
It's a HIV medicine that suppresses your...
it's like Magic Johnson. Is that like the stuff he's on for all these years?
Where at that time, people couldn't afford it. I mean, it's still expensive today. It's still...
Well, yeah, it was this... insurance cover that?
My insurance is covering it, but it depends on what state you're in. Yeah, you have to have good insurance, because, it's a really expensive medication.
I want to ask you a question though. Like, when you first, how did you feel? I mean,
I felt betrayed
emotionally and stuff.
Yeah, because I was in love. I was 22 when I met him. I didn't know, I was brought up in a household of love. My mom and my stepfather were always in love, always dancing, cooking, so I just was looking for love. I didn't know anything else. I felt like I was a little wet behind the ears.
Right.
So that's why I teach the girls now, like, just because something looks good doesn't mean it's good for you, and make sure you get tested.
Well, you were a young woman.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times people have to age, and they get wisdom that they wish they would have had when they were young.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunately that's not how it goes.
Tell me about it.
Well,
that was a really, really hard time, but I do believe in love, and I was supportive to him, because I didn't know what happened or how it happened, and he was never the type of person to be malicious or harming. I married him because he was a nice person, so I believed his story that he didn't know, because sometimes a lot of guys don't check their health. They really don't stay up with doctors or get checkups and things of that nature. Not all men, but a lot of guys just don't feel comfortable going to the doctor. So I was wondering.
But if he didn't know, and this came on as suddenly as it did.
It did.
It had to be either something that was happening with him now, or he just didn't tell you the truth. Something AIDS. I knew people that died from AIDS again when you first came out, and you can't hide that.
No.
Especially back then, you just couldn't hide it. So, you did the right thing, though. God bless. I mean, you took care of someone that you loved through thick and
He
thin,
literally
which is
said
good.
he thought he was going to pass away. And I said, well, what do you want to do before you pass away? Because we both were ignorant to it. We both thought that he was going to just pass away. And he said, I want to go to Disney World before I die. It's a true story. And we went to Disney World. We took myself, himself, and his daughter. And we went to Disney World. We had a good time.
Oh, good,
And
good,
so,
good.
years later, we wound up divorcing. I have no regrets. I'm in a better place, for where
Well,
I'm
that
at
kind
today.
of that kind of led into where you're in now. But there's a few other things along the road too that you were telling me about. After this, you developed a lymphoma.
Right. I found a lump under my arm. I was working for the police department, NYPD School Safety Division. And I love saying that because I love working with the New York City kids. I did. They love me and I love them. I was Sergeant Love.
Okay.
I always show the kids respect and love because that's what children need. And so I came home from work one day stressed out and I had a sharp pain on my left side of my chest. And I reached under my arm for some reason and I found the lump. And it was about, that long and very, very thick. I knew it was something wrong, but I didn't know what. So when I went to my doctor, Dr. Morgan, I never forget her at Brooklyn Hospital. People make an impression on me and I never forget them. So she said, I'm gonna treat it as she treated it as an abscess. She didn't even know. But after 10 days, when the antibiotics didn't move it, it didn't budge. I came back, she said, oh no, you need a biopsy ASAP. So that's when I had the biopsy. And 2 weeks later, my family's praying, everybody's praying. Nobody, everybody thinks prayer just resolves everything. It resolves some things, but not all.
Well, it makes you feel good
It
at
does.
that moment.
But
I
at
mean, when
that
you're
moment,
praying,
I needed
you feel
somebody. And
good.
I went to the doctor by myself thinking that it's not anything bad. And it was cancer.
Now, I want to ask you a question, and I'm not doing this as sympathy or whatever. I was talking to a friend Saturday that has cancer, and he was taking medication for depression. And he's had cancer for a couple of years. He's okay, but every once in a while he falls back into depression. Mm-hmm. And he said one of the hardest parts is when he found out that he had it is, oh my God, and he's going to like die or whatever. I mean, just to get past that. Did you experience anything like that when you first found out? And the reason I'm asking, because there are hopefully this will give other people some kind of inspiration that, there's life after finding out there's cancer.
Right.
And you're proof of it, so is my friend. So I'm just saying, how did you feel?
And I remember her telling me, I do remember crying. I walked right out the office and I called my best friend. And I called my mom and everybody was crying and I was crying and I felt like, wow, like after HIV
Right.
and now this, I'm like, Jesus, like I don't know how much more I could take, but I trusted the process, if that makes sense, and I trust God. So I kept praying that all will be okay. That's the only thing that kept me going. My faith is what kept me going. If this is my story, this is my journey I have to go on, then I'm gonna trust God through it. And I remember my mother-in-law at the time saying, where you get treated makes a difference. And I was diagnosed at Brooklyn Hospital, but she suggested I go to Memorial Sloan Kettering.
Right.
So I went there and they accepted me. And I started getting treated immediately.
You have chemo?
So I had chemo for 6 months.
How was that?
That was really rough. The first, it's once every 2 weeks my treatment because everybody's treatment is different. But I had to go to, it was Manhattan and I lived in Brooklyn, so it was a commute. They have services now, different services now to help people like us. But at that time, I didn't know about, the transportation and things like that. And then it's hard on the body because I took it intravenously. I was afraid to get a port.
Well,
A port
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
A port is like done with surgery. They put a port sometimes underneath your skin so they could directly like with the infusion, like with the chemo, go directly to the area. But I was afraid to get the port at that time. So I wound up getting the port the second time. But the first time they did it intravenous, and it was a big red tube, I never forget. And you have to sit there and they would, inject you once every 2 weeks. But it felt so cold. Like you could feel it going in your veins. And man, it's really, really mind blowing. Like, because you have to be really strong to sit there and like take this medicine. No, it's going to help you, but at the same time, it's making you sick because it's helping something and it's hurting something else. So for like the first week I would take the medicine, I would be really sick. Like nausea happened a lot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it happened a lot. And so I started drinking, someone suggested seltzer water. And so I would drink that to help combat the nausea. But I was working for the first 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I was working and then I couldn't anymore. So thank God that I had the police department, because there was some type of application you could fill out where people in your job can donate time to you, and I needed 3
No
months.
kidding.
It's a
Oh
true
my
story.
God.
And I was donated a couple of days from a couple of agents, and then one lady I never forget, Miss Minta. I'm walking to the bathroom on the 6th floor in Central Headquarters, Queens Boulevard, Queens area. I can't remember exactly the street. And she grabbed the paper from my hand, and I said, "Why did you take the paper?" She said, "What is this?" And I said, "I'm asking people to donate time so I can finish my chemo at home because it's too hard for me to come to work." And she said, she wrote 3 months of her time on the thing.
No kidding.
Just
oh
like
my
that.
God. Wow.
So that's how I know that God always steps in, because I started crying at that very moment. I'm very emotional too. And I started crying and I was like, "Why'd you do that?" She said, "God sends his angels when you need them." And she gave me exactly the time that I needed to be off so I could finish my chemo.
That's fantastic. That's a great story right there. That's unbelievable. So you went into remission.
I went into remission. I went back to work.
How long were you in remission?
I was in remission for 5 years. And I was living my best life, but the thing I didn't change was my job. I still had the stresses at home, and I didn't change my diet.
And after 5 years, it came back.
It came back.
The same thing?
Hodgkin's lymphoma came back, and this time it came in my neck. On the right side of my neck, I had, like, when you get sick, sometimes your glands will swell up. Absolutely. Mine was swollen for 30 days. So my neck was big. I was still at work because I'm very dedicated to work. I remember sitting at my desk, and my friend called me, may she rest in peace. Her name is Seisha Wilshire, and she passed away from cancer for the second time. That's why I know I'm here for a purpose. And she said, "I have you on my heart, Rain. What's going on?" And I said, "I have this pain in my neck." She said, clock out and go to the doctor. And when I went to an urgent care, he said, because you had cancer before, that doesn't look good. You need to go see your oncologist. Lo and behold, it was cancer for the second time. Jesus. I said, I couldn't. At this point, I was not so cheery and so happy. I was like, "God, I'm so tired. Like, I'm exhausted. And I have to go through this again."
Well, what kind of, evidently you must have some great emotional support from people. To go through this the second time?
My aunt, my best friend. I had a lot of people that love me, and still to today they love me. And so they always were there for me. When I had it the second time, I had to go through chemo again. So my type of cancer is considered curable.
Right.
It's a difference.
Right. Absolutely.
One's is treatable. There's some that's treatable. There's like 50 types of cancers, but mine was curable. And what happened was they got me cancer free and opted for a stem cell transplant. So they rebuilt my entire immune system. So that same year in 2015.
No kidding.
Yes, it's $100,000 procedure, and my coverage paid for it.
Well, they do that with sickle cell now. There's a company called CRISPR that does stem cells. And what they do, they created the platform, and it took years and years for them to develop it. And Europe started the first approval. Now it's approved here in the United States, and it does cure sickle cell, which is an amazing thing. And that's going to be how everything is going to be cured eventually with stem cells. It's unbelievable. It's the way of the future.
It is really hard process to go through. And I tell people when they go through that, excuse me, I didn't mean to be rude.
Well, how long are you in remission now?
9 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
God bless.
9 years.
That's terrific.
When you're going through any of these sicknesses, you have to be optimistic and you have to be positive. When I was in the hospital in 2015, I was having fevers every night, throwing up every day. I was in the hospital 31 days for the stem cell transplant. And they give you a new birthday too. So the day of your stem cell is September 17th. That's my new birthday.
Oh, I have to change mine now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not unless you want a stem cell transplant. Yeah, but it's a very hard procedure to go through. And people don't understand that when you get sick and you're out of work and things, your bills get backed up. It's a lot.
Oh, I know. Now, when you were in there for 30 days.
31 days.
31 days. They had support people talking with you there?
Yeah, I remember a musician coming
in.
in. I remember a musician coming in.
No, I'm talking beside that. I'm talking about hospital staff.
Nurses? The nurses. I don't remember any support people. Only remember a gentleman. You remind me of him. I'll never forget. He walked into my room and he was 10 days past his stem cell. And he came to see people like me to let us know that you too can get through it. And he was my encouragement. I don't even know his name.
Let me hear about the musician now.
So the musician comes around and he has a guitar. I remember him too. He was a tall white man. I don't remember his name either. And I was really sick, but he had a guitar and he comes around to the room with a book full of songs. And he said, "Would you like to sing?" Of course I want to sing. I love to sing. So I remember him opening the book and I picked Lauryn Hill. And I started singing with him. And he said, "You really can sing." And I was like, yeah, a little something, But I had to do a lot. I was on a pole, attached to a pole for 31 days. You have to sleep with it, take a shower with it. You can't take a shower by yourself either. The nurse always has to come. But the good news about stem cells is that they make you get dressed up every day like you're going somewhere. Because it's very interesting about the mind. When the mind is feeling like, defeated and sick, you will feel that. So they didn't want you to feel that. They wanted you to take a shower and get dressed every single day.
That's like, I had spinal surgery about 2.5 years ago. I was in the hospital for 10 days. And I was on the table for 2.5 hours. And 2 days into recoup, they get you out of bed and they try to get you to walk around. They don't want you to get atrophy in bed, if that's the right word. But they want to get you out, and plus they want that bed back.
Okay.
They want to get you out as soon as possible.
Right.
But it was crazy.
My last week there, I was so happy. I had a port in my chest the second time. So I didn't have a choice the second time if I wanted a port or not, because my veins had hardened from the first chemo. So I wasn't able to take it intravenously the second time. So they told me I had to get a port. I was so nervous.
So now you're clean.
9 years. I'm living my best life.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
People be looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you're crazy because you're not living your best life. You only get one.
And now you're doing these cancer awareness shows. Yes. You got, did you find the Lord more while this was going on?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
If I could go over that real quick, I'm not going to elaborate.
Take your time. We got nothing but time.
I was fed up with the men situation. I was broken. I was hurt. And I met a woman, right? It's curious. It's a Gemini thing. People don't understand. I don't want the women no more.
I understand. Okay. But I still don't want a guy, though.
Okay. So I thought I was safe because I didn't want to transfer it and, ignorance again. And I met someone and, we decided in 2014 to open a music recording studio.
Really?
I didn't know what I was doing. I just did it because I love music. And we wound up having clients. It was amazing. In the basement of Bushwick. I owned the building there. And we just built it out. Me, her.
So you owned the building?
I owned the building at the time, yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Really? How long did you own this building?
About 10 years or so.
How did you come to own the building?
My mom, my grandfather, my grandmother and my grandfather worked really hard. And they had a couple of properties. And my mom was just frustrated. She was like, I'm going to pass this on to you after I battled cancer for the first time. So I wound up being an owner of a six family. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Yeah, building. And I was the landlord after the first time.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
I'm
so
not kidding.
cool. That's
It's
great.
a true story. So I wanted to, expand on that. So I opened the recording studio with Jay. Unfortunately, moving forward, we had a great run. We went to Tennessee, Nashville. We were backstage with the Dove Awards. We toured with a couple of artists because we managed one rap artist. His name is Louis Peso. And then Mari Burrell was our second artist. And she got us to Nashville, Tennessee. Because she knows everybody. So we got backstage with the Dove Awards. She was a host for the CCM magazine. And when the people were coming off the Dove Awards, I didn't know where I was. When I walked into this theater, I said, "Where are we?" She was like, "The Dove Awards." I was like, "I never heard of the Dove Awards. It's a gospel awards? Holy shoot." So when we were backstage with her, she allowed us to be present. And I have pictures of everybody. Jason Krabs was walking up. Torin Wells was walking up. The lady from Greenleaf was walking up. I was like, starstruck. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I got to experience a lot with music because I tapped into something that I didn't know.
Fantastic.
It was amazing.
Fantastic.
And, fortunately, we opened a bigger studio. So we closed the one in Bushwick, went into a commercial property in Ridgewood. We did well. We had our share of different, ups and downs. But then COVID came in and it got her. Like, it literally took her life. Like, in 3 weeks, she passed away of COVID. So here I am again. It's like something hit me, then I got to start over. Hit me again, I got to start over. I'm like, Jesus, like, when am I going to stop starting over? Like, it's been hard. But my brother stepped in. His name is Tico. And he got me a grievance counselor because I was really going through it in 2020. I was like, I thought I was going to be like living my best life with this studio, becoming a millionaire. And God said, nope. That's when I found God. That's when I found God. He said, you're not living right. You got to do it the way I want you to do it. And I was like, I got you. I said, God, you got my full undivided attention.
Well, you're doing crazy stuff now.
Yeah.
I mean, your boyfriend named Stan.
Yes.
He's like into the catering business, and he used to be a caterer to the musicians also, you were telling me. So you're involved with that, and you're involved in the show for cancer awareness.
Yes.
Well, tell me a little bit about that.
All right. So if I could get that, that was God, because he was doing Stan the Man catering. Just so y'all know, because his food is the best.
Well, I've seen some of his pictures, and
I'm eating, man. I'm talking about gaining weight. Like, are you kidding me?
The spreads that he puts out is unbelievable. I want to get him on this thing too. I want him to talk about his stuff. Okay.
So
he's got another great story with God and all of this stuff.
Yes, we Mel Holder is a good friend of ours, and he had invited me to a place called Oasis in Baldwin, which we still love. We still attend there. And I was sitting at the bar, and I was nervous, shaking in my pants. I didn't know too much about open mic. I just love to sing, like karaoke. I'm not well trained yet, until now. And he encouraged me, and he said, "Are you singing?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "But they keep skipping me." And he's like, "Let me go take care of that." And I just thought it was like really gentlemanlike, really kind. And I loved it. I fell in love with his eyes. And I was like, wow, he's such a looker,
This is Stan.
Yeah, he's Stan. And then
Stan the man.
Friends of ours, mutual friends, I said, well, I was going to stay behind because I came by myself. And I was going to stay behind with him, but I didn't know him. So they were like, I said, "Can you vouch for him? Like, is he?" They said, "Oh, he's a great guy. He's a great guy." So then I stayed, and then we wound up dating, and we're still together today. And he's encouraged my voice. He tells me, the key is important, to look for the band leader. It's so many things that he teaches me. And I'm like, how do you know all this stuff? And he's like, "Oh, I used to put people in position to sing in my clubs." And I'm like, wow. So because he believed in me and encouraged my singing is how the stage became about, because now I'm singing in front of rooms. So I was in Westchester in it's called Plaza Park Interiors. That is our new connect out there in Westchester. And he says, Morris said, he heard me sing. I started singing for 2 cancer survivors in the room while he was catering. Us down was catering. And Morris said, "Rain, do you do shows?" And I was like, not yet. He said, "Well, my church is looking for talent. Would you like to sing at my church?" And I said, "You guys paying?" And he said, "Yes," because somebody in the room named David said, stop singing for free reign. Make sure you get paid for your gift. And so I listened to him. He was right because I kept giving it away and I still had to pay bills. Like,
I hear you. No,
So,
I know that. Been there, done that.
So Stan and I put our minds together and I told him, I said, babe, I don't want to do a show where it's just me singing. Plus, I wasn't skilled to do an hour and a half by myself. I said, let's invite someone else. So I called up Jazzy Matt to be in the show with me, and he agreed. He's also a cancer survivor of non-Hodgkin.
Well, I met Matt.
Right.
Yes,
So he joined forces with me, and then Stan wrote I don't know what you call it, a stage play. I don't know how you call that. Playwright.
A little script.
Right. He wrote the script for the show, and we put everything together. It wasn't easy, but I kept telling him, we got to do it for the people. We got to do it for God, because I want to show God that I really honor him saving my life and taking cancer away from me. So that's why I did the show.
Well, I'm sure you got great response to this thing.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate so many people to be in the room. I really didn't. I didn't know what to expect. We were a little nervous, but I told Stan, I said, can you please cook? So he sponsored the show to cook for the people. And then 50 people showed up. Am I right? It was about 50 people. That was my first show. And it was amazing.
Matt, when I spoke to Matt, he's going on tour in Europe in November. And if you're going to do more shows, you have more talent that you're going to reach out to.
Right.
Do you have more talent?
Yes. We know a lot of people. Mostly Stan knows a lot of people. So.
Oh, okay.
And then we still got Jason. The people that sang with me. I think it was Danielle, Monique, and Jason. I'm sure they'll be willing to do it again because they had a good time and they ate Stan's food too. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to taste Stan's food.
I told him. I said, babe. I said, when we go to the show with Goody and Jason, we got to bring them some food. Because what's the point of talking about it?
No. One of these days, because if it's as good as it looked, that's a home run. I'm telling you, the presentation was off the chart. It was beautiful. It was great. I'm
grateful to be paired with that's why leading to the Shades, and so I joined a group for woman empowerment for myself because I need something. God never gave me any of my own children. And so sometimes I just want to be a part of something where it's more than just me and share my testimony.
How many women?
Now is about over 60 women.
60?
Yeah. And she has ties to more than that, hundreds and hundreds.
Now, what, do you all meet together or you break it up into groups?
We meet on Zooms. Tonight we'll be on a Zoom. Women from all over, and we share our testimonies.
Well, what do you talk about?
We talk about our testimonies. Everybody shares a testimony, all women.
Well, what do you mean by a testimony? You talk about what you've been through, where you are now?
Where we are. A lot of them have their own businesses. They have their own nonprofits. So we share sometimes whatever struggles we may be going through in life, because life can come at you so fast and so heavy sometimes.
Absolutely. And everybody goes through that, believe me. It's how you deal with it.
Right.
But it's fascinating.
I was seeking mentorship because I went homeless. So after Jay passed, everything happened rapidly. When she passed, I was trying my best to hold on to the studio by myself, and I couldn't sustain it. And so I wound up losing it. There were some people involved. It wasn't a really good fit. And so I walked away. I walked away from the studio. I kind of felt liberated, though, because I really didn't want to do it anymore without her. So it was kind of good, but I didn't know where God was taking me. The money I was making from that, I couldn't sustain where I was living. So my aunt told me, come stay with me in Canarsie. I wound up going back to...
I grew up in Canarsie.
I know. And there's some good people there. Wow.
Yeah.
Good neighborhood. Good people.
It was a great place to grow up.
It was a great
unbelievable
place to
place
for
to grow
10 months. But after that, I was like, I'm ready to venture off into my own because I didn't really have privacy.
Well, you told me one thing, that you were homeless at one point?
Yeah, that's why I wound up in Canarsie. I didn't meet the shelter, thank you, God.
Well, what happened to the building?
Oh, I wound up having to sell that years later. My family pretty much went
after you lost the studio,
I had already...
You still had the building?
I didn't have the building.
Oh, you didn't have the building anymore?
I was already living in Glen Cove, Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how did you become homeless?
The money that I was making from the studio, which was very good money, I couldn't sustain my rent and things like that. Yeah, it was too hard.
Well, you're lucky you have someone that helps you out until
Yeah.
doing. See,
My aunt is the best. Elaine, you're the best.
you have been very lucky with support. You know, a lot of people don't have that support. You should thank God about that.
I do. Trust me, I do. I thank God all the time for my family. We just did a breast cancer walk yesterday, and my aunt that took me in, we went to support another friend of ours in Coney Island. They had a breast cancer walk. It was nice.
Yeah,
So,
my dad died of lung cancer. He was a heavy smoker, you know, back in the day.
right.
You know, and it was chic when he would be smoking when we were in the car without any seatbelts. And, you know, my brother used to, you know, there was like a little dashboard next to the rear window. You had the seat, then you had a platform. He used to go up there and sleep. My dad would be smoking on the, you know, on the Belt Parkway with no seatbelts or anything. Things were different. Well, listen, nobody, you know, if they knew, they never told anybody. I mean, they kept that a big secret. They always like kind of denied that it helps cause lung cancer.
Okay.
Well, it is what it is, you know.
Yes.
Anyway, listen, this has been a terrific conversation. If you have anything you want to add, I'm here. You're here.
Yes.
We have time if you want. If you anything that you want to talk about.
I do want to mention that I help Stan sometimes with his catering. And I'm grateful because I'm in a
With who?
position with Stan the Man Catering.
Oh, okay.
I'm grateful to help him because I feel like God is putting me in a place where I can serve people. And so I like that. I never did that before until I met him. And then we branched off and opened a 501c nonprofit so that we could help. It's called Living Your Best Life. Matter of fact, let me my t-shirt, please. Living Your Best Life. And
you're making
yes,
T-shirts.
I make T-shirts.
Now this happened after your cancer and HIV.
This happened after I went homeless.
Right. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that was the stages. I
Get
went
a shot of
homeless.
that, please. You got a shot
I
in
went
there?
homeless, and a friend of mine, he said, "Rain, why don't you make T-shirts?" And I was like, "I don't know the first thing about making a T-shirt." And he said he gifted me the machines.
Are you silk screen? Not your heat press
This is
that.
this is
So
vinyl.
heat press, right?
I do simple things, nothing too grand. I'm still learning. But the Cricut, I taught myself on YouTube how to use it. And I got to making it. My first one was a mess, and I kept going.
That's okay. You know,
Yeah,
just that you're. It's
it got
just.
better.
I did. Everyone thinks that. How did they do that? People
Right.
just learn stuff.
Right.
You know, like I've done so many different things, and I didn't know what I was doing before I started. You just do it, and you make your mistakes, and you correct yourself, and you just go forward. It's great. I'm very proud that you're doing this stuff.
I'm excited because I think as you know, we both have the same birthday, and Geminis are very creative. So there was another thing that happened. Mr. Morris, he had he owns a furniture warehouse. This is his dream, and I love to see people in their element and in their dream, living their dreams, because we should all live out our dreams. A lot of people leave this earth and they leave with their dreams inside of them and they never let them out. And I'm like, no, you have to, so he has this warehouse showroom, and all of a sudden he's like, Rain, we're going to make you your own furniture. And I'm like, what? So now I have an ottoman being made for me. My own personal ottoman. It's a serious. And then the other part, I can't even describe. It's like a tall piece where people were going to be able to put their drinks and things. So I'm going to have my own furniture on stage with me wherever I tour.
Now, I just want to say,
It's crazy.
This is what I'm talking about when I say I want you to come to my place and live your dream. Just not live, just talk about it. Get it out in the open. You got to hit me up. Go to Goody's Granola or My Place with Goody and hit me up. And we're going to have something like this. It's going to be, it's an amazing thing to hear these stories. I love it. I love it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really do. I thank you for being here. And on that note, we got a special little thing we got going here. Ray, first of all, I want to say, Stan is over here. Stan the Man is watching this thing. We're going to get him on here talking about his dream, which he lived already, but it's coming back on the second time.
Woo!
Okay? And these guys complement each other. And I said this before, like peanut butter and jelly. These guys just fit. And I'm really honored to have Stan sitting over here. He's going to be sitting here one of these days. And Rain, thank you so much. I hope you've been an inspiration for me. I hope we pass it on to other people at the same time.
So that's what I wanted to touch millions of people, and I'm manifesting.
Don't
right
be
now.
afraid. Don't care what anyone thinks. Just do it. Come on down. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. First, what we're going to do is we're going to have Rain give us a song. The song is called I Can Only Imagine, which is a very inspirational song, talking to the man himself. And then what we do is we're going to have Rain sign our wall. You cannot sign the wall now. You have to sit in that chair, and then you get on the wall. Okay. All right, folks. Rain singing I Can Only Imagine.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine what all I will do is forever, forever worship you. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in all you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak it all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. And all I will do is forever, forever worship you. Can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's it. Woo! Yes.
Thank you.
That was money.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, now for the moment of truth, the one that everybody wants to do. The signing of the bricks, the wall of fame. Wayne, it is my pleasure to present you with this one.